Exactly what's a wood turner? Let me share some thoughts with you. Years ago, when I was first getting interested in woodworking, I went to annually the wood show, which was a traveling show that went around the country, where basically it was a big tool show where they might have had a few demonstrations. And the owner of the wood show would give us a booth space in order to set up a mini lathe, talk a little bit about wood turning, and I participated in that activity for several years. And when folks came by, it's like working at a trade show. You try to engage them in conversation, and you'd be at the lathe turning a top or something, and you would ask them, "Are you a wood turner?" And I tended to get three responses. One, they'd say, "Yes, I belong to such and such a club," or "No," and then they would nervously walk off. And then the third response, which always cracked me up, is they would look down at their feet as they said, "No, but I have a lathe." So what is a wood turner? Well, I looked it up in the dictionary.com. It's a noun, and it's a person whose occupation is wood turning. I looked up the definition in two other online dictionaries, and they all had identical definitions. Wait a minute. I'm retired, and I didn't start turning until after I retired. And I've never turned wood for a living. By this definition, I'm definitely not a wood turner. But wait, I looked up the word occupation, and one of the meanings is a way of spending time, as in a game of cards is a pretty harmless occupation. Okay, I breathe a sigh of relief because it's how I spend a good portion of my time, so I think I can safely say, not only do I have a lathe, but I am indeed a wood turner. I looked up wood turner in yourdictionary.com for their definition, which is a person skilled at wood turning. Oh crap, maybe I'm back to square one. But then I Googled wood turning, and I got back wood turning as a noun, and it says the act of shaping wood with a lathe. So maybe I should not get too hung up on formal definitions of words. If I turn wood most of the time, I must be a wood turner regardless of my skill. Malcolm Gladwell, in his book The Outliers, proposes the theory that it takes 10,000 hours to become an expert or a master of something. I've achieved 10,000 hours in wood turning if you consider all the research, reading, watching YouTube videos, but I don't have 10,000 hours making shavings, and that's the difference in when you're demonstrating making a box, trying to get it perfect like some of these true experts, Nick Cook, Richard Raffin, Steve Jones, Woodturner 21, that make a living turning. Of course, Richard Raffin is pretty much retired now, but they've got it down to a pat. The rest of us, we can have some head knowledge, but we'll probably never catch up with a production turner. When I first got interested in wood turning, I was a member of Gannett Woodworkers Special Interest Group, and most of the demonstrators came from within the club, and so it wasn't long before I was asked to demonstrate. When I was approached by an officer to do a wood turning demonstration, I asked, "Well, what would they like to learn?" And he said, "It really doesn't matter because you're just here to provide entertainment." And I said, "No, I'm not an entertainer. I want to teach something about wood turning, and I'm hoping that some of the members that are in the audience are going to actually learn something." I had a conversation with the late Mark Baker, the editor of the British magazine Woodturning, and Mark said that the typical club turner that he was familiar with probably only turned a few times a year, maybe only turned a half a dozen projects. Some of them never turned at all. So go be a wood turner. Turn off your computer, turn off your phone, go down your shop and make a few shavings. And remember, y'all be safe. Come on back here.